ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਅੰਗ 51। ਸਾਤ ਸੰਤੋਖ ਦਿਆ ਕਮਾਵੇ ਏ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਾਰ। Practice truth, contentment and kindness. This is a most excellent way of life. ਆਪ ਸ਼ੋਧ ਸਭ ਹੋਏ ਰਹਿਨੇ ਜਿਸ ਦਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ। One who is so blessed by the formless Lord God renounces selfishness and becomes the best of all. Beloved Sangat, imagine, if you will, that life isn't a linear journey with a destination, but more like a dance. We often think of life in terms of goals, ambitions, and outcomes, but perhaps the real beauty is in how we move, how we interact with the rhythm of existence. Now, this verse from the Shri Guru Granth Sahib speaks to the way we dance, the way of truth, contentment, and kindness. When we talk about truth, it's not merely about being factually accurate, but about aligning with the deeper underlying reality. You see, beloved Sangat, we all wear masks. We play roles: father, mother, teacher, student. But beneath all these roles, there's a deeper reality. The practice of truth isn't just honesty in speech, but a return to our essential authentic nature. It's seeing through the illusions and understanding that the masks we wear are transient. Contentment, santokh, on the other hand, isn't the absence of desire, but the recognition that in this moment, in this very place, all is already well. It's the wisdom to know that fulfillment isn't out there waiting to be achieved. It's already here, right now, when we let go of striving and embrace what is. Contentment isn't passive. It's the deep trust that the dance of life is perfectly choreographed. And then there's kindness, the open-hearted willingness to see others as yourself. You see, beloved Sangat, when we practice kindness, we dissolve the illusion of separateness. We begin to understand that the other is simply a reflection of ourselves, and that by offering kindness, we are, in fact, embracing our own true nature. Now, the verse goes on to say that one who is blessed by the formless Lord God, the divine essence that cannot be captured or contained, renounces selfishness and becomes the dust of all. This is profound. The ego, the sense of separateness, the I and me that we cling to, fades away. Instead, you become like dust, humble, present everywhere, unnoticed but essential. Dust isn't grand, it's simple, but it touches everything. It's in this letting go of the self, in this becoming the dust of all, that we truly align with the cosmic dance. So this verse points to a way of life that is rooted in truth, anchored in contentment, and expressed through kindness. It invites us to transcend the ego and flow with the deeper rhythm of existence. And in doing so, we find that we're not separate but interconnected, part of the infinite formless reality. Alright, so let's dive deeper and explore the Shabad in more depth. When you hear the phrase, practice truth, contentment and kindness, at first it might sound like a set of moral instructions, things we ought to do in order to be good people, but that's missing the point entirely. You see, beloved Sangat, the universe doesn't care about our moralizing. It's not some cosmic rule book that we're supposed to follow. Life at its deepest level is a mystery, a dance, a game, a play. And the real trick is learning how to play this game well, how to move with the rhythm of life rather than against it. So what does it mean to practice truth? Truth in this context isn't just about telling the truth in a conversation or living according to some rigid moral principle. It's much bigger than that. Truth is about aligning yourself with the fundamental reality of life itself. It's about seeing through the illusion of separateness, the idea that you are a little isolated ego, a separate entity floating through space. The reality is, you're not separate from the world. You are the universe looking at itself, experiencing itself. Practicing truth means recognizing that all the roles you play, all the stories you tell yourself about who you are, they are just costumes in the grand play of life. The real you is something much deeper, much more profound. So living truthfully is about being in harmony with the flow of life, not resisting or clinging to illusions. Now, contentment, this is where many people get tripped up. We've been conditioned to think that contentment means settling, or worse, that it's the enemy of progress. But contentment, in the truest sense, is not about becoming passive or lazy. It's about recognizing the present moment is enough. Right here, right now, this moment contains everything you need. Contentment is the art of realizing that life doesn't begin somewhere off in the future after you've accomplished all your goals and checked all the boxes. No, it's happening now. When you fully accept this moment as it is, without trying to change it or escape from it, you experience a deep peace, a kind of joy that doesn't depend on external circumstances. It's a realization that life isn't a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. And then there's kindness. What is kindness really? Well, it's not about being nice for the sake of appearances or because it's socially expected of you. True kindness flows naturally from the recognition that we're all connected. We're like waves on the same ocean, appearing separate but deeply intertwined. When you're kind, you're not just doing something nice for someone else. You're expressing a deeper truth about the interconnectedness of life. You're acknowledging that when you help another, you're really helping yourself. Because at the deepest level, there is no separation. When you practice kindness, it's like a cosmic wink, a playful reminder that we're all in this dance together. Now, beloved, the verse mentions being blessed by the formless Lord God. Formless is the key. It's saying that the divine cannot be grasped with the mind, cannot be contained by any form or concept, because you can't draw a line around the infinite and say, this is it. The divine is beyond words, beyond thoughts, beyond concepts. It's the unnameable essence that permeates everything. To be blessed by the formless is to experience a shift in perspective. It's to see the world not as a collection of separate things, but as a vast, interconnected whole, vibrating with the energy of the divine. It's a shift from seeing the world as a series of objects to experiencing it as a living, breathing process. And when this blessing happens, when you truly see the interconnectedness of all things, something incredible occurs. You renounce selfishness. You realize that the ego, the sense of me, is just a mask. It's not the real you. And in this realization, you naturally become humble. You become, as the verse says, the dust of all. Now, this might sound like a diminishment, but it's actually the opposite. To become the dust of all is to be everywhere, to touch everything, to be present in all things without needing to claim credit or attention. Imagine dust. It's subtle. It's everywhere. It settles quietly and unnoticed. But without dust, without this elemental presence, the world would be incomplete. In becoming the dust of all, you become part of everything, not in a grand flashy way, but in a gentle, unobtrusive way. You stop trying to stand out, to assert yourself, and instead you blend into the dance of life. You become one with the rhythm of the universe. So, beloved, this verse is inviting you into a way of life that's not about rigid morality or trying to be perfect. It's about attuning yourself to the deeper reality of existence. It's about living truthfully, seeing things as they are, not as your mind thinks they should be. It's about embracing contentment, realizing that this moment, this life is already complete. And it's about practicing kindness, recognizing the deep interconnectedness of all beings and expressing that through love and compassion. And when you do this, you become like dust, not insignificant, but humble, present, and free from the illusion of separateness. You see, the irony is that by letting go of the need to be something, by renouncing selfishness, you become everything. You become part of the infinite dance of life. You flow with it rather than against it. And in that flow, there is a deep, abiding peace. So, beloved Sangat, to bring this all together, what we've been exploring isn't some set of rigid rules or spiritual dogma. It's an invitation, a call to step back and see life from a broader, more profound perspective. The teachings of the Shri Guru Granth Sahib that we've been discussing are pointing us towards a way of being, not a way of achieving. And that's an important distinction, because most of us go through life thinking that if we can just get this or accomplish that, then we finally be at peace. But you see, that's a kind of trick we play on ourselves. It's the classic carrot and a stick situation. The peace and contentment we're looking for aren't out there waiting at the end of some long road. They're right here, right now, if we know how to look. When we talk about truth, contentment and kindness as the most excellent way of life, it's not about adhering to some external set of standards. It's about coming into alignment with the flow of the universe, with the dance of life itself. Truth, in this sense, isn't about telling facts. It's about seeing the deeper reality. It's about waking up to the fact that you're not a separate little ego living in a hostile world. You're the universe. You are life itself, expressing itself through this temporary form. And when you live in harmony with that truth, life takes on a different quality. It becomes less of a struggle and more of a flow. Contentment follows naturally from this realization. It's the recognition that you don't need to wait for some future moment to be whole or complete. You already are whole and complete. This moment, right now, is exactly as it needs to be. When you stop resisting the present, when you stop thinking that something is missing, you begin to experience a kind of peace that transcends circumstances. It's not about being complacent or passive. It's about trusting the flow of life, dancing with it rather than against it. And kindness, beloved, Well, kindness is the natural outpouring of this awareness. When you see that the other isn't separate from you, that we're all waves on the same ocean, then kindness becomes a natural expression of your being. It's not something you do because you're supposed to, or because it's expected. It's something that happens spontaneously, like breathing. You're kind because you see yourself in others, and in doing so, you recognize the interconnectedness of all things. And finally, beloved, this idea of becoming the dust of all is the ultimate gesture of humility and wisdom. When you let go of the ego's need to be special, to stand out, to control everything, you actually find the deepest freedom. In becoming the dust of all, you don't diminish yourself, you expand into everything. You blend with the cosmic dance, and in that blending, you find true peace, true contentment, and the deep abiding joy of simply being. So, what this teaching is ultimately pointing to us is the great paradox of life. By letting go of the need to grasp, to cling, to control, you find everything you were searching for. You become part of the infinite flow, and in doing so, you discover that you are the flow. You've always been the flow. All that's left to do is relax into it, to trust the dance of life, and to enjoy the ride. And so in the end, beloved Sangat, the secret isn't in striving for or seeking, but in simply surrendering to the flow. Allowing yourself to be carried by the current of life, and realizing that you're the current itself, delighting in the cosmic play of existence. Please forgive my mistakes. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.